Good morning. We are waiting the organization, the technical assistant.
Good morning, professoressa.
I am sorry I am not in Istanbul, but they are now in the room, in the section, and they are provided to start the session with the computer. They write me this.
Thank you for the information. No problem by my side.
It's fine.
Okay.
Good.
And in the other one, you have another one here.
Is Yasmin. Okay. So
Yeah.
good. Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes, buongiorno Francesco.
Ciao, ciao Alessandro. Ciao.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Grazie Francesco.
Ok.
Diciamo,
Sì, sì, un attimo che condivido. Ok, possiamo iniziare.
okay. Good morning. I am sorry that I am not in Istanbul, but there is Francesco Sica, and now I think that we can begin this session, Trace, and so Francesco, you can call the first paper.
Okay. Just wait. Okay, so good morning, everyone. So this session is organized in two parts. The first part is made of two presentation in presence. Then it will be a presenter online, Alejandro, and then it will be another two ones in presence. So we can start with the first contribution that I share here. This is by Antonella Roma. Is you? So the order is Antonella, the contribution by Antonella Roma, Maria Rosa Regorini, Lucurcio, Di Lido, Pierluigi Morano. The second one is by Pierluigi Morano, Deborah Nelli, Francesco Daiani, Emma Sabatelli, Felice Di Lido. Then it will be the contribution online by Alejandro Segura, and then the other contribution in presence by Giulia Datola, Pietro Bonifaci, and Giulia Datola. So we can start with Antonella Roma, your contribution. So
presentazione PowerPoint.
Condivisione. Okay. Do you see the screen by own?
Yes, no problem.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, the floor is yours. Last 12 minutes and then 3 minutes for question.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Antonella Roma, a PhD student at Sapienza, University of Rome, and today I'll present the work entitled A Set of Criteria for the Assessment of the Suitability of a Building to be Converted for Use as a Healthcare Facility. The COVID-19 emergency in 2020 subjected all national healthcare systems to an extreme stress test. 4 chronic weaknesses emerged across Europe at the same time, limited financial resources, inappropriate infrastructure, obsolete technology, and a shortage of medical staff. In this context, Italy faced one of the biggest healthcare crises in its recent history. In Italy, hospitals collapsed under the sudden wave of COVID-19 cases because an effective territorial healthcare network was missing. Patients with low-intensity needs had no alternative to acute care settings, so hospitals had to absorb an exceptionally high demand. This shortage of an active territorial network is rooted in long-term policy choices. After the National Health Service was established in 1978, successive economic crises drove reforms aimed at fiscal sustainability. The most important measure was the decentralization of financial and managerial powers from the central government to the regions. Many regions, especially those in the south, were consequently forced to cut investment, freeze hiring, and close smaller hospitals to balance their budget. In this context, governments have recognized the urgent need for an effective transformation. The critical issues and gaps.
Excuse me, Antonella. In the you can show only the slide because there is also the comment. Okay.
Let's go. Can check in presentation mode. Fai in modalità presentazione.
E non si vede.
E la vediamo.
È possibile condividere da solo la presentazione, perché si fai la condivisione di tutta la screen e fai la condivisione anche del testo.
But I think here we are sharing entire screen. If we say just share presentation, they will not see the notes.
Okay.
We can try.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
So.
Ok, grazie.
Ok. Funziona adesso?
Sì, sì.
Ok.
But she can go back, no?
Per me va bene lo stesso, non c'è problema.
Funziona adesso così?
Sì, sì. Funziona.
It works.
Sì, stai qua.
Okay. So, in the context of National Resilience and Recovery Plan, Mission 6 is the country's primary tool for modernizing healthcare and making access more equitable, bringing service closer to people's place of residence. The original 2021 program aimed to build 1,350 community healthcare facilities for primary care, 400 community hospitals for intermediate care, and 600 local operational centers to coordinate home care and emergency services by 2026. However, the increase in construction and energy costs during 2022 made this project financially unsustainable. The government has therefore reduced the number of facilities to be built as a part of the NRRP review presented to the European Commission. Going into specifics, the first component of Mission 6, therefore, contains a series of measures that will allow the reorganization of territorial assistance through the construction of new healthcare facilities. To support the activity of designers, Agenas and the Polytechnic of Milan have produced the guideline notebooks for the Meta project. These documents provide a methodological framework based on current legislation to support the design phase. The documents underline a crucial point. Public decision makers must conduct preliminary analysis that allow them to identify a strategic location for proximity facilities. In fact, healthcare facilities must be located in a way that meets the need of the community. The lack of a solid methodological approach that supports the preliminary analysis phase of the projects, however, means that choices are made on case-by-case basis and that they satisfy the particular interests of local healthcare companies. In this regard, the guidelines underline the need to conduct analysis both at local and territorial levels in order to understand the potential and critical issues of each site. An important issue to consider in the preliminary analysis is the observation about the buildings. The sector regulation actually provides for two options. The first is to build this structure from scratch on the territory. The second is to place them in existing buildings that are no longer in use. This would activate a process of repurposing the disused real estate asset. On the two viable alternatives, reusing abandoned real estate is the preferable solution. Although abandoned real estate is often perceived as a complex and costly problem for cities, it actually represents a valuable resource. The benefits of the new real estate asset configuration are numerous and varied. Firstly, this practice triggers urban regeneration processes. Secondly, using existing buildings limits land consumption and reduces the environmental impact. Furthermore, adapting existing structures, which often are characterized by high energy inefficiency, improves their efficiency and reduces the overall ecological footprint. This research is a part of the described framework. Healthcare planning is a multidimensional decision problem involving different disciplines and a wide range of stakeholders. Evaluating such complex projects requires tools that can integrate qualitative and quantitative variables. The research aims to propose a set of evaluation criteria to verify the suitability of a property for a new configuration for healthcare purposes. These criteria address all issues that should be considered when planning a healthcare facility. The evaluation criteria were identified through a narrative review of national and international literature. Furthermore, the review of empirical evidence was supplemented with a review of sector regulations, which is essential for aligning the evaluation criteria with the technological and organizational quality standards required by law. The review of the academic literature conducted allowed the analysis of methodological approaches that have already been used to address the challenges of locating healthcare facilities. The findings showed that the topic of locating newly built facilities has been well explored. Almost all of the approaches identified rely on multi-criteria analysis to inform decision-making processes through the use of quantitative and qualitative evaluation criteria. By contrast, the reuse of disused buildings for healthcare purposes remains largely understudied. To address this, the review also considered empirical evidence on adaptive reuse and the selection of criteria to assess a building's potential for conversion. The narrative review produced a final set of 40 relevant papers. In addition, a review of the sector's legislative framework focusing on territorial healthcare reform was conducted. This analysis allows for the identification of 5 main evaluation criteria for determining the suitability of a property for conversion. These criteria, each of which is further divided into sub-criteria, are territorial context characteristics, site area and building characteristics, socio-demographic characteristics, epidemiological aspects, and economic issues. This slide focuses on the criterion territorial context characteristics, which is broken down into sub-criteria that are measured using specific indicators drawn from the literature. When selecting a site for healthcare facilities, decision makers must adopt an evaluation approach that considers the opportunities and constraints of each area to identify the location that best meets the facility's operational requirements. Accessibility is the most important requirement, for example. The infrastructure of the candidate area must therefore be analyzed, including the presence and distance of public transport stops and the efficiency of road network. A second key dimension is the existing and planned hospital network. Planners must determine how well the new facility will integrate with current services. An effective assessment, therefore, lists all healthcare cities in the territory, identifies their type, and highlights any gaps in service provision. Environmental quality is another area of analysis. High levels of air pollution or noise can harm patients' well-being, so the literature consistently advises against proximity to polluting or noisy industrial activities. This slide lists the sub-criteria fall under site area and building characteristics category. The study's primary goal is to define criteria for assessing whether an existing property can be converted to healthcare use, but most of the literature examined focuses on facilities built from scratch. For this reason, the table also includes sub-criteria that can be used to judge the suitability of a site on which to construct a new facility. Building a healthcare structure from scratch can be costly, while renovating an existing property can be financially preferable. However, renovation is not always the best option. Critical issues may arise if, for example, no suitable properties are available in the area, or refurbishment costs are excessive due to the condition of the building, or conflicts emerge among stakeholders. Therefore, one of the first factors to examine is the state of conservation. Significant decay implies high investment costs. A second key factor is building flexibilities. And finally, a specific assessment must be addressed the building's energy efficiency. When planning a healthcare facility, it is crucial to examine the socio-demographic and epidemiological profile of the area it will serve. Demographic analysis helps to define the catchment population and clarify local health needs. Population density is a widely used indicator because it shows how much care the facility must provide. However, density alone only provides a broad overview. Effective planning also requires more detailed data, particularly regarding age distribution. Particular attention should be paid to residents over 65, as they experience higher morbidity and therefore place a greater demand on services. In addition to demographic structure, planners must consider the area's epidemiological profile. Studies typically examine the prevalence of chronic and acute disease, as well as behavioral risk factors such as smoking. These variables can have a significant impact on both the level of demand and the organization of care delivery. Finally, no assessment is complete without an economic perspective. This involves examining a series of sub-criteria that capture the final profile of the initiative, 5 in total, according to the literature review. Most studies highlight 2 cost drivers above all others: the price of land for a new project and the total capital outlay. Another key factor is the ownership. If the site of building is already public, costs drop significantly because no purchase is necessary. In conclusion, the research highlights the urgent need for a structural transformation of the Italian National Health Service through the development of a territorial healthcare network, an effort already underway, supported by resources from the National Recovery and Resilience Plan. However, in order to maximize the impact of this investment, planning decisions must be grounded in a rigorous and structured evaluation process. Adopting a clear and replicable methodological framework would make it possible to guide the adaptive reuse of disused building for healthcare purposes. The literature review conducted has led to the identification of 5 core evaluation criteria, each articulated into measurable sub-criteria, designed to assess the suitability of existing properties for conversion into healthcare facilities. Future research will focus on refining and expanding this set of criteria to reflect more the operational and functional requirements of community-based healthcare structures. In addition, multi-criteria analysis technique will be applied to integrate the various indicators and support the development of a composite evaluation index, an operational tool aimed at guiding strategic, evidence-based decisions in the context of territorial health planning. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your interesting presentation. So, yeah, there are some questions, some comments, if you want to share, to ask. Who would like a question for you? So, if you are starting to reflect on the multiple scaling application and using of indicators, so which type of indicators that are more referred and concern the building size, the building scale, or other more specifically oriented to estimate the impact of the investment. So only if you are starting to reflect on these aspects.
No. No.
It's a suggestion.
Not in this moment, and thank you for your observation. I reflect more on this point.
Okay. Good. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, so we can jump to the second presentation, the second module. And this is the time of the contribution of special analysis of Euromed decay, spillover effects, and significant patterns for the city of Rome by Pierluigi Morano, Deborah Neri, Francesco Tagliani, Emma Sabatelli, Felicia Di Lido. Emma Sabatelli, the floor is yours. Okay. Just wait. Vedete le note da casa?
Yes. Lo guardiamo, vediamo.
Ok. It's okay now?
Che succede?
Vedete la presentazione senza le note?
Sì.
Sì, ma non in full screen.
Senza le note. Però lo devi mettere a schermo pieno.
Forse condivisione questo.
Ah, ok. Facciamo schermo.
No, adesso vediamo le note.
Sì, un secondo. Adesso?
Adesso non lo vedi. Adesso va bene.
Ok.
Okay. 4 minutes for 10 or 3 minutes for question.
Okay. So good morning to everyone. So this presentation is organized into 6 sections. The first one is the framework of the research, followed by the aim of the work and the methodology. The second part is the presentation of the case study with the results and some final conclusions. So this research is developed within the broader context of growing urban challenges. As urbanization accelerates, the quality of the urban environment becomes increasingly important for individual well-being and for achieving long-term sustainable developments. At the same time, many cities are facing a concentration of economic, social, and environmental distress, often localized into specific areas. Urban decay is one of the clearest expressions of these dynamics. In fact, it is a multidimensional phenomenon driven by the interaction between physical deterioration, economic disinvestment, and social vulnerability. These elements reinforce one another, potentially accelerating the decline and deepening spatial inequalities. Importantly, urban decay doesn't occur randomly, but tends to concentrate into specific neighborhoods. This creates what is known as the spillover effect, so problems in one area often spread to the surrounding areas, gradually affecting a larger part of the city. In fact, recognizing these special patterns is essential for urban planning because this means that addressing urban decay effectively requires integrated area-based strategies rather than isolated interventions. In this context, spatial correlation analysis serves as a powerful tool to identify significant clusters of urban decay, quantify the strength of spatial association between indicators, and distinguish between widespread patterns and localized anomalies. This approach helps to identify the areas where physical, economic, and social vulnerability intersect, guiding more effective regeneration interventions. So this research applies a spatial correlation technique to analyze urban decay in Rome, with the aim of identifying and interpreting spatial relationships between indicators of decay. Specifically, the analysis is guided by 3 main objectives. The first one is to identify significant clusters of urban decay. The second one is to compare the spatial distribution of indicators across the 3 main components, so physical, environmental, economic, and social. And the third one is to test the impact of spatial contiguity by varying the number of neighbors considered. In general, the overall goal is to provide a specially grounded framework for planning, which can support more effective urban regeneration strategies. So the analysis is built on the principle that geographic phenomena follow a special logic. As summarized by the Tobler's first law of geography, everything is relating to everything else, but near things are more related than distant things. Spatial correlation analysis is a statistical tool that helps to determine whether the distribution of one or more variables across a territory is random or shows recognizable patterns. This analysis includes both global and local spatial correlation. The global correlation evaluates the relationship between variables across the entire study area, while the local approach focuses on individual locations to detect specific clusters or outliers. In this study, the local bivariate Moran index is performed. The bivariate approach explores the spatial relationship between two different variables. So this approach goes beyond the analyzing single variable clustering and help uncover spatial relationship between distinct phenomena. So it compares the value of a variable x with the value of a second variable, so y, in the neighboring zone. The Moran index ranges from -1 to +1, so positive values indicate similar values clustering together, while negative values suggest contrasting values in proximity. Based on the index value, each zone can then be classified in one of several cluster types. An Ig cluster reflects a zone with an Ig value surrounded by similarly high values. Low indicates low value of a variable and low values of the other variable. Then Ig-low and low-Ig clusters reflects special outliers where a zone differs from its surrounding. The neighborhood structure is defined using the k-nearest neighbor method, where each zone is assigned a fixed number of geographically closest neighborhoods regarding the shape or size. Several k values were tested in this study to assess the how pattern change with the different spatial scales. So the analysis is conducted on the urban area of Rome within the Grande Raccordo Anulare, that is the city's ring road. This area includes the historical center and different neighborhoods ranging from the affluent districts to more vulnerable peripheral areas. So 106 urban zones were analyzed using an administrative division. The indicator considered were grouped into the three main components of physical, environmental, economic, and social, and the examples includes building vacancy rate, functional mix, unemployment rate, divided into the components. All indicators were then normalized, and the special correlation analysis was then performed across all indicators in the table. So each combination of indicators was analyzed individually. For each resulting cluster, a special interpretation was provided. An example of the results for each component is provided. For the physical environmental component, the example involves the special correlation between building vacancy rate and the number of asbestos sites per unit area. The results were mapped for different values of K, which determines how many neighboring zones are considered. As K changes, both the distribution and the number of special clusters can shift. In this case, the presented map refers to K equal to 50. So in this case, the about 80% of zones showed significant special correlation. The most common pattern was low IG for the 53% of the zones. So zones where low vacancy rates are surrounded by areas with high asbestos site. IG cluster covering the 27%, so indicates areas where high vacancy and asbestos sites coincide, so suggesting more urban decay. Peripheral zones such as Tor Fiscale or Casal Bruciato showed the positive correlations, while central districts like Esquilino and Flaminio showed negative links. For the economic component, the example reported the correlation between functional mix and the percentage change in residential property values. In this case, with K equal to 50, most of the zones belong to the IG clusters, so suggesting a positive relationship between the diversity, the economic diversity, and change in property values. Okay. As before, each cluster type was then interpreted and used to suggest planning implication. For the social component, this example reported the correlation between number of public housing units and disposable income. In this case, with K equal to 50, 83% of the zones showed a significant correlation. Low IG clusters were most common for the 58%, and low public, in this case, low public housing zones are surrounded by higher income rates. The key findings of the research are that urban decay in Rome is not random, but follows a structured spatial patterns. Several patterns of decay appears at broader scales. So with K equal or measured to 80, IG cluster stabilized, showing that problems extend across large areas. From these findings, several policy implications can emerge. The first one is that interventions must be wide-scale, so not limited to single neighborhoods. The second one is that strategies must integrate physical, economic, and social dimensions, because urban decay is a systemic issue. And then that resources should be prioritized in zones where coordinated, that is identified as a high risk across all components. So the future developments of this research is to extend the special analysis beyond the Grande Raccordo Anulare to include more peripheral zones of the city, and to define an optimal intervention scale for regeneration policies. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your contribution. It will be more inspired. So, are there some comments, some questions that you want to share, to ask? No? So, I have some curiosity. Yeah. The first one is about the multi-scaling approaches that you used for relating some indicators to all the same special scale of analysis. How do you manage these processes?
We have considered different values of K to conduct this robustness test. So we have considered the neighboring zone vary in a variation between 10 zones and 100, 30, 50, 80, and 100 zones neighboring one zone.
The measurement of the environmental indicators usually are referred to a national border scale.
Okay.
So, how do you manage this information, large information, to a smaller scale?
In the definition of indicators, we have disaggregate the value of emissions to a single urban zones, considering the population, the number of residents of the yes.
Okay. Good. Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we have to break for between presentation to the other ones. And now this is the time of the online presentation by Alejandro Segura.
Hello, do you see me?
Yeah. I stopped the sharing. So
no, I don't know if you have. Can I share it?
Yeah, you can now.
Okay, I'm going to share the screen. And here is Finestra. Do you see my screen?
Okay, good. You can take in for a presentation.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if you see well, because I see full presentation, but I think you see just the.
I see the presentation mode, the PowerPoint.
The PowerPoint mode, yeah. I don't know why. 1 second. I'm going to check if I can share. Is way better?
Okay.
Now it works. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Nice to see you again. I'm Alejandro Segura. I'm going to present this study that's called Understanding Airbnb Supply in Rome, Multivariate Analysis of Prices and Accommodation Patterns. And we have been working on this topic, Maria Rosario Guarini, Francesco Sica, Alejandro Segura, and Gilsi Núñez Guerrero. And this is part of a broader study that we are doing concerning Airbnb and the evolution of prices related to the evolution of the short-term rentals. And I'm going to continue with the standard way of working in academics. I'm going to introduce the topic, then to talk about the state of the art, the methodology, the results, and the discussion and the conclusions of the work. First of all, I'm going to talk about this topic. Mass tourism is nowadays intensifying in all Europe, in all the world, and here in the topic we are analyzing in the city of Rome, where historical and cultural landmarks are concentrated in specific urban areas. Now, traditional hotel stays and traditional long-term rental market are modifying and are being replaced by short-term rentals that make another kind of city. And the platforms like Airbnb, that is the one we are going to analyze, have made tourism accommodation more accessible and more flexible for tourism. So it allows the tourists to have other possibilities than the typical hotel rentals. Our study examines how these dynamics are being held in Rome, in the city we have been working. That represents both a place of emblematic and of cultural heritage and a tourism-driven transformation. First of all, we have this image. I think we can all see the point of the COVID-19, where the annual guest nights drop from more than 512 million nights to half the number, close to half the number. But on 2022 and on 2023, those numbers have been increasing, and we have more than 7,000 million guest nights. In this position, I think it's important to put here the interest of the city of Rome, because it has become the second city in Europe, just behind Paris. And this situation is interesting, I think, for all of us who have been working on this topic, because all of us can see the topic from different perspectives. Here we have the pricing perspective, we have the financialization perspective, we have the Airbnb and the pressure on the prices perspective. So I think it's interesting to have all these topics together and to work all together, because it makes us to share the knowledge each of us have on the topics. We have here that we have a change in the homeowner behavior from the typical the profitability by long-term leases has moved to converting the properties in an income generated asset. So it makes all the properties, all the houses, a totally different brings a totally different point of view of how to manage the asset and how to consider the houses. This has led to a rise in housing prices, and this makes a link between all those website platforms and all the homeowners linked with houses. And on the state of the art, I selected some of the articles we have been working with. Here we have that one from Cervas, Proserpino, and Byers, who has analyzed the situation of Texas. I think this is interesting because even when we have an increase of Airbnb listings related to the hotel business and the Airbnb business, we see that this link is not that much, because an increase on 1% of Airbnb makes just 0.5 decline on hotel revenue. So the link is not that high. So it's interesting and it's different than the initial position many of us can have when analyzing this topic. Then I think it's interesting also the thing that Wattsmuth and Weisler have indicated with more linked with the problem with the housing for the residents because of the low disponibility or availability of housing for the residents of the area and the gentrification of the neighborhoods. And of course, the 1% rise in hotel room resulted in 1.3% increase on the availability. And from this topic and also the other one in orange, I think it's interesting that both markets are linked, and we have to study the markets not just from the short-term perspective that those studies have analyzed, but also on the long-term perspective. Because in the short term we can see that this increase on the hotel room rates, and also the increase on the availability of accommodations, but this link is stopped by the space we have. So it's interesting also to analyze the long-term effects of those works. We move to the methodology. We have analyzed the supply of Airbnb in Rome, and we have here 125,000 records, more than 125,000 records from fourth quarter of 2023 until the third quarter of 2024 are 4 terms, and we have analyzed all the data with Excel, with SPSS, with R, and with QGIS. We have done the analysis. I think the most important thing is the classification and the regression tree we have done with SPSS. And we have different variables of the rentals. We have the variables of the hosts. So all the information, and we can analyze the concentration of these properties. We have the rental prices, the minimum nights, the number of reviews, a lot of information linked with those reviews, the availability, different variables that are interesting for us to analyze and to understand what's the deepness of this market. And first of all, I want to show you those variables. From this point, first of all, I want to highlight the Centro Storico di Roma. 51% of all the entire home apartments are located in the Centro Storico. 71% of the hotel rooms are located in the centro histórico and also in the private rooms. So at the end, this highlights the concentration of the market. And when we go to the total number, we have here 23,000 units in entire home apartment, and this links to more than 70% of all the market. So the Airbnb platform brings us the possibility to analyze all the market of the entire home apartment, but also in second position the private room availability, because is the second one which is more offered here in the platform. And this is the spatial representation of the work. We can see here that the link of the city center to the availability of those houses, and I think it's important also to analyze in the image D the situation of the shared rooms, because the market is totally different and the behavior of the renters is totally different. This is the result of the classification of the regression tree. Here I want to highlight the exploration of the pricing patterns we have done across the 4 quarters of the study. And this classification and regression tree allowed us to segment listing-based variables like neighborhood, room type, availability, or number of predictors of prices. Here we can see, I think the most important thing is that across all the periods, the full year availability and is importantly consistently linked to the higher prices we are having in the results. This is a box plot we have made with her. I think the point here is the difference between the prices in the historical city center of Rome and all the other neighborhoods of the city. But not just this topic, also the point that we have much more outliers in the city center, much more information that is not connected with the general market in the city center, and this variability is driven by the property characteristics and the location of those houses. This image can, I think, reinforce the importance of spatial factors in the determination of Airbnb supply and the prices in Rome. And the next point we have analyzed and linked to all the analysis we are doing is this is showed in this table, and here we can see that all the rental prices are decreasing. We can move from 0 number of reviews to more than 100 number of reviews, and we can see that the first column represents the highest price of all the prices we are seeing. What this means is that the price is dropping when we move to a higher number of reviews. This is interesting because all the really book listings and all the apartments that are new have a really higher price, different to the general price that is the ones who are the ones who are rented more in Airbnb. This topic is the same for all the kinds of housing, the apartment, the room, the private rooms. And we can see, for example, in the entire home apartment for the last quarter of 2024, the third quarter of 2024, the price is close to half from the houses that have no reviews to the ones who have more than 100 reviews. And last of these results, we have this information of the spatial representation of all the IDs of the most representative host ID accounts, and we have seen here that even when we have, I think, a high concentration of houses linked to some accounts, at the end, more than 100 accounts represent 10% of total Airbnb listings. This can be considered concentration, but also there is not a high concentration of these houses. We haven't seen that this is linked with the price of the houses, at least for the data we have been analyzing, but this concentration is increasing, and this is linked with professionalization of the short-term rentals, and this is linked also with the problem we are analyzing it also with the housing availability and the possibility of housing regulation. And in conclusion of what we have been doing here, first of all, that full year availability and also a large number of reviews modify highly the prices of the housing. In second point, we see that there is a clear concentration of the supply in the Centro Histórico. And in third point, we see that there isn't a high link between ID housing and concentration to the increase on prices. And that's all I wanted to share with you. If you have any question, I'm glad to hear. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Alejandro. Thanks for your contribution presentation. So if you can stop the share. Okay, so there is someone that we would like to share to ask something. So on this work. Nobody else. So if you can explain briefly, which do you think the next step of this work in your mind? How do you think that it will be gone?
Yes, I'm working and we are working on different topics that I think are interesting. First of all, as we are in the city of Rome, it's interesting the link between all the tourism points, all the touristic points, with the prices and the development of those prices in the market also. And we have been seeing with the presentation of Antonella and Emma, it's interesting the point of the neighborhood. So we have also some data that is being analyzed in between the neighborhoods and the impact of the prices. And because of the topics we all and I have been talking about it, we are interested in different topics also, and it's interesting to analyze the prices, to analyze the evolution of the prices of the houses and the gentrification of the houses. I think there are many topics, and we are working step by step, but steady on bringing, trying to bring more knowledge to this topic.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks again for your interesting contribution. And so, okay, thanks you. And okay, you can stop the sharing the presentation. Yeah, but now it's the time of the contribution construction cost estimate to the building information and modeling in renovation projects, early design stages, by Pietro Bonifaci, Sergio Copiello, Federico Panarotto.
Thank you.
Okay. I share. Okay. This is very nice. Okay, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
More or less 12 minutes.
Yeah. So, good morning. As suggested by the long title, the aim of this research is to verify if the adoption of building information modeling design can improve the accuracy of construction cost estimating in the early design stages. The research is carried out through the analysis of a case study that is related to the renovation of a building, and it allows to compare traditional and BIM-based assessment techniques in the early design stage with late design cost estimates. A few words for frame the topic. The assessment and control of construction costs involves the building's project from the investment planning to the commissioning of the property. Each phase of the project development is paired with a different cost estimation methodology that depend on the scope of the assessment and on the information available at each phase. Considering the construction industry, two main categories of cost estimate can be identified. The first one is suitable for the use in the early design stage, comprised utilizes intuitive and analogical techniques through which the project costs are estimated based on historical data from similar projects. The second category used in the late design stage includes analytical methods which involve breaking down the construction to calculate its cost as the sum of the prices of its individual components of operation, such as the bill of quantities. Moreover, the accuracy of cost estimates is expected to increase as the project progresses. The more information is provided, the more precise the assessment becomes. The Association for the Advancement of Cost Engineering has introduced a matrix that relates the project development and the expected accuracy range of estimates for each phase. And the plot on the slide shows this relationship. On the x-axis is reported the project maturity, expressed as a ratio of complete project. And on the y-axis, the expected accuracy of estimates. In early design stage, let's say class 1 and 2, project information are often limited to location, building typology, functional requirements, and the expected accuracy of estimates can range from minus 30% to plus 50%, depending on the project complexity, degree of definition, availability of reference data, and so on. Nonetheless, despite the limited design information and certain external factors, early estimates significantly influence the success of failure of a project due to the fact that from 70 to 80% of the total building costs are set at this stage. For this reason, estimating construction costs during the early design stage is one of the most critical challenges in real estate investment planning. As mentioned before, in early design stage, analytical techniques are used. These techniques allow to cost estimation by comparing historical cost data of similar buildings, named comparables, to the one to be built, called subject. And these methodologies generally involve the identification of the comparable that have construction characteristics similar to the project, the subject, the selection of a parameter to be used for the estimation, the calculation of the unit cost by dividing the total cost of the comparable to the quantity of the parameter of the comparable, and estimate the construction cost of the subject by multiplying the unit cost as calculated to the quantity of the parameter of the subject. The first method analyzed in our research is the superficial area method that assumes that the reference parameter is the surface area of the building that in our research corresponds to the gross floor area. Following the phase described earlier, the cost estimation of the subject is carried out by simply multiplying the unit cost of the comparable to the gross floor area of the subject. If adequate information on cost and construction characteristics of both the subject and the comparable are available, the elemental method may be used. That is the second method analyzed in our research. This approach requires that both the subject and the comparable must be divided into their measure construction element, then dimension of element of the comparable the subject must be known, as well as the cost of the comparable elements. And the construction cost of the subject is then assessed as the sum of the unit cost of each element multiplied by the corresponding quantity according to the equation that is shown on the slide. As the features and cost information of the comparable are concerned, in Italy, the most widely used information source is the price list of building typology and related construction costs published by the Milan Board of Engineers and Architects. The inventory provides for various types of work and different buildings types, a description of the works, some reference drawings, construction time information, and main dimensional data. Moreover, the price list provides for a breakdown of construction costs by elements, as you can see on the right part of the slide. However, the dimensional data are limited to the K parameters typical of each specific building. Information on single elements are not provided. So this type of source is not suitable for cost assessment through the elemental method because all the costs are then referred to a single parameter, in this case, the surface area. As said, so we use a case study to verify the accuracy of cost estimates of superficial area and elemental method in early design stage, and the method are used to estimate the renovation of a building, and the cost of renovation is assessed through a bill of quantity that will be used as a benchmark. However, before proceeding to the comparison for allowing the implementation of the elemental method using the mentioned price list of construction costs, a BIM model of the reference buildings has been made. The modeling process of the reference building was carried out in two distinct steps. The first involved creating a geometry using a parametric modeling approach, and the second focused on developing a script to automatically extract the required quantities of elements and process them through algebraic operation. On this slide, you can see the result of the modeling process of the comparable, that was this one. And using the drawings and the descriptive information, a simplified geometric model of the building has been made. Walls are made of single layers, doors and windows are inserted using a library of modifiable objects. And finally, rooms were placed within a model. Each room has a unique number and name based on its function for allowing the extraction of k-dimensional data of spaces. The building model can also be updated by modifying single parameters, allowing to the exploration of different scenarios. The second phase developed a script that automatically acquires all rooms within the model and allow the identification and classification of walls within the perimeter of each room, along with the associated openings, doors, and windows. Once this task is complete, the script extracts all reference parameters linked to the architectural components, such as surface area, perimeter, height, width of doors, windows, and then exported them to a spreadsheet. The process does allow to automatically extract the dimension of the single elements to link cost of each to their actual dimension. As you can see in the slide, most of the row of the breakdown of cost of the price list on the left side can be linked to the dimension of the real elements and not only on the gross floor area. After doing that, we were able to proceed to compare the two methods to a case studies that refer to renovation of a flat located on a mezzanine floor of a condominium built in 1927, and the apartment consists on a living room, a kitchen, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a small corridor. The gross floor area is 79 square meters, and the renovation works regard internal wall and ceiling plasters, clearance floor, cladding of the kitchen and bathroom, paintings, replacement of windows and doors, but demolition system are not included. As you can see on the right part of the slide, the result of the bill of quantities is about, and so the total cost of the renovation is about 43,000 euros. 43,000 euros. Using the superficial area method, starting from the information provided by the price list, which the breakdown is provided on the left part of the slide, and considering only the works that are considered in the renovation project, we carried out the cost estimation by multiplying the unit cost equal to about 4,000 euros per square meter to 79 square meter of the subject, and obtaining a cost estimation of about 31,000 euros. Using the elemental method, with the BIM modeling of the reference building, we were able to link the cost of each element to the actual dimension of the element of the subject, and then we can we estimate the cost in, as you can see on the right side of the slide, in about 45,000 euros. So we compare the method using the bill of quantity as a benchmark, and we found that considering the superficial area method, the cost category with the largest deviation are those related to flooring, all of which they are more than 50% higher than the benchmark, and the category of the external windows and door that have a deviation of minus 46.75%. External windows and door are show a significant deviation also with the elemental method, although with an opposite sign, it's plus 42.14%. This result may be due to the fact that the cost of the reference building that is anyway updated annually refers to a building that is constructed in 2004, and with technology whose performance may no longer be comparable with the one used observed. But in terms of total cost, the elemental method paired with the BIM design estimates show an overall deviation from the benchmark of 6.34%, which is a quarter of the absolute deviation of the superficial area method, that is minus 25.74%. To quickly conclude, the result of the assessment using the superficial area method confirmed the accuracy expected in the early design stage, and the accuracy of the estimate using elemental method and BIM design approach the level of accuracy in the late design stage. So we consider that this approach can be can support cost estimation in early design stage and support decision making in the real estate sector. We will deepen some aspect of our research, primarily using different type of works, different project, because maybe a so good result could depend on the fact that the works were quite simple, and but it was a first test of this kind of research. Thank you for the attention.
Thanks very much for your really interesting, inspiring contribution.
Thank you.
So, are there some comments and questions that you want to share? Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for your presentation. I'm really interested in cost estimation because I explored this thematic with the flexible solution, but I am addressing really some issues and so on. So I saw that you would like to integrate the cost estimation with BIM.
Yeah.
So it is a curiosity. Okay, so do you think that for your further research, is it possible to use the work breakdown structure to estimate cost and to integrate these breakdown of cost, but really specific and analytic within the BIM in order to check if all elements are estimated?
So there is quite a lot of research on the use of BIM in drafting bill of quantity, but you need to have a project at executive project at a late design. Literature is not so. Some authors said it's okay, it works, but not all are agree on this. So we would like to try to make something for the early design stage, and so the BIM model is very simplified. So, but probably also at this stage you can make a model a little bit more complex to match with the breakdown of work provided by the Preziario Day, the inventory fire resistor of the Milan model. So, thank you.
So, just a question for me. I was impressed by the results you showed, and I don't think you understand clearly. It seems that the element methods works better on the small size elements in estimation cost.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, the elements that have more sites in surface.
Yes, but probably it depends on the selection of the case study also.
Okay.
So I think that it's a renovation project. We have in advance all the dimension of all the elements. Probably in the early design project of a new construction, there is more uncertainty also on the dimension of each element and so on.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we are at the end of the session with the last contribution. That is Valid Nature, experimenting the G-Value Toolkit for the economic evaluation of nature-based solution in Milan by Giulia Tatola, Francesca Torrieri, Marta Dell'Ovo, e Alessandra Oppio. So, Giulia, the floor is yours. Just the time. So to this one. Here. Okay.
Okay, so thank you for the introduction. Today I'll illustrate to you this work that I developed with Francesca Torrieri, Marta Dell'Ovo, and Alessandra Oppio of Polytechnic of Milan. So we know that the urban environments are really affected by impacts of climate change, especially the urban Italian. So according to this scenario, nature-based solutions are suggested to improve and implement some mitigation and adaptation strategies in urban context. But despite this great interesting, nature-based solutions are really implemented in the urban context, because there is a really criticality in proposing the season support tool in order to integrate this solution into the strategic planning. So our task and our goal is to explore this tool, the G-Value tool, in order to address if it is a suitable preliminary tool to evaluate in economic perspective the nature-based solution in urban context. So we test this tool in the city of Milan in order to address and evaluate a restoration project in the city of Milan. This study allows us to underline both strengths and criticalities of this tool. So this is the outline of the presentation. So with the introduction of nature-based solution, which are the main evaluation challenges and the research question. We explore also the economic evaluation with these tools that are proposed, and we will focus on the application and the result. So as I introduced before, urban environments are exposed to shock stresses related both to climate change and also local characteristics, especially the urban Italian. So to face this scenario, different framework and policies at both national and international level suggest nature-based solution, because they are solutions inspired by nature, and also they are cost-effective and also are able to provide multidimensional benefits like social, economic, and also help to enrich the resilience. In fact, for example, the sustainable urban drainage system are really effective to manage runoff or urban forestation in order to reduce the effect of urban heat island. But I would like to make a focus on the fact that they are defined as cost effective, because we face with a contrary, because the state of the art tells that nature-based solution in strategic urban planning is quite limited, because the strategic planning and the operative implementation are not emerging as a priority in urban action to tackle climate change, because there is a lack of effective and operative decision support system to evaluate these solution in the ex-ante phase. This is related to, first of all, the difficulty in estimating the benefits of this solution through monetary terms, as well as the second issue is the difficulty in estimating the cost of the solution, both for what concerns the implementation, but especially within the maintenance cost. So these are the two main critical issues that affect in negative way the integration of the solution in the planning. So today we will focus on the first criticality related to the economic evaluation of these benefits. So our research demand is how it is possible to explore nature-based solution benefit in urban context. And so to respond to this question, our object is to explore and test this GVAL tool for developing an ex-ante evaluation of the generated economic value of nature-based solution in the urban context. So how to estimate economic value of these intangible benefits, so environmental and social. So the basic methodology is the total economic value that help us to estimate use value and non-use value within different evaluation methodologies, so the revealed preference and the state preference. These results are also able to be used within another method, that is the benefit transfer, that allow us and permits us to consider and use these monetary values in a context with the other context, of course within the required adjustment. But with this methodology of total economic value, some European and also national programs developed some operative tools to support and in some way simplify the evaluation of this benefit. The GVAL tool, INVEST, I3, and BEST. So they have in some way all the same objectives, so estimate these benefits according to monetary terms, but they use different methods as well as they have different outputs, because really less of these tools have as a result as monetary results. So we use and decide to apply this tool because, first of all, the evaluation method is robust, because the benefit transfer permits to use results and values of different contexts in our context, because according to the methodology at the basis, and it is also used in the ex-ante phase, so like our task. And also it permits to evaluate the provided benefits through a monetary term, so we are also able to calculate the net present value of the analyzed intervention according to the combination of discounted benefits and also discounted cost. So the GVAL tool has been developed to support the preliminary project analysis by identifying which are the main potential impact of the proposed intervention of green asset. It also provides a structured framework in order to understand which can be the main benefits, and also it supports, as I told you before, the development, of course, of an indicative cost-benefit analysis. This tool proposes some benefits category from the climate change, to the biodiversity, also considering the land management and also the tourism. And each benefit in this tool is supported by a logical model in order to consider and translate this benefit into monetary terms. And to do this tool is based on two main case studies, which give us these monetary values of the benefits considered. So this tool is structured into an Excel-based calculator. The main sheets are the project data in which we can describe our project according to the location, the surface, and the characteristics in order to describe our project within the necessary parameters to consider and to evaluate, analyze the benefits. And the last sheet is the calculator related to the cost-benefit analysis, in which we can compare the total value of the benefits with the project cost, both implementation and maintenance. But I would like to underline that in this case, the tool doesn't support us in estimating cost. Okay, so the costs have to be inserted and estimated in another section. So our application, in order to consider our research demand and objective, it has been applied to the city of Milan in order to assess the economic value of urban forestation intervention in the city of Milan, because this intervention is aligned with the strategic objective of the climate and air plan of the city of Milan. So how we applied this tool? First of all, we identified the provided benefits. So according to the characteristic of our project, we consider climate change and adaptation benefit, the water and flood management, the health and well-being, land and property values, and the creation of and the leisure. The benefits that you saw in gray, we are not able to consider because, for example, biodiversity is related to the conservation of natural area. So it is, in opposition within the urban context, okay, as well as the tourism and land management, because they ask really, really in-depth data that in the ex-ante phase it is impossible to consider. And the second phase, we have to arrange some input data, because first of all, these evaluation, these monetary value are in pounds, so we have to translate them into euros. As well, these monetary values are referred to last year, so 26 and so on. So we have to update to the current year of estimation. And some input data like average household and so on are related to the context of UK. So we have to arrange in order to develop this estimation context-based as much as possible. And for the property spreadsheet, we consider the OMI value of the area. So according to this arrangement, the Excel-based calculator is organized within a discount rate of 3.5 that is aligned with the estimation we made, and the temporal scale is 15 years. But in our application, we consider the discount rate as structured, but we consider the temporal scale of only 20 years because we estimated only the implementation cost and the ordinary maintenance cost, because within 15 years we should consider also extraordinary maintenance costs. So according to this estimation, we consider that we are able to estimate our discounted estimated benefit, that is around 400,000 euros, and also we estimated cost. But as I told you before, we estimated the cost separately, so in other tests and in other calculation, and we use the Preziario of Regione Lombardia both for implementation and maintenance costs. So according to the discount of both benefits and cost, we have calculated our net present value, that is in this case negative. But why it is negative? Of course, because these solutions are really expensive, both for implementation and for maintenance. But in this case, a relevant number of benefits have not been included according to the state of the art of the project, so labor productivity, land management, tourism. But the main criticality is the biodiversity, because it accounts only the areas specifically designed for the wildlife conservation, and it limits in a really relative manner the accounting of these benefits in urban environment. So their exclusion decrease in a really significant way our net present value. And also the item of the choice of discount rate, because we use the discount rate proposed by the tool, but we have also know that some studies suggest to reduce this discount rate when we are facing within this intervention, because they are related to climate change mitigation and so on. So we make we try to reduce the discount rate, and we obtain, of course, a net present value higher within the discount rate of 2%. So in order to conclude, we start with our research demand, so how can the benefits of network-based solution can be estimated, and we explore these tools. So the main strengths that we can underline it is that the GEVAL tool is able to map the benefits of our intervention. Okay, so we are also able to check if our intervention is aligned within the objective, for example, of a municipality program in order to manage the climate change effect. As well as it uses a really robust methodological framework at the basis, because it is a benefit transfer. So we are also, using a robust method, and also the required input data are also easy to obtain and adapt with our necessity. But we have also some weaknesses. First of all, the economic value are in pounds, so, and the period is different from the estimation date. So this arrangement can also introduce some relevant inconsistency in the evaluation, and the absence of the cost estimation, because it only supports us to estimate the benefits, and the cost remains the critical item. And also it is not able to properly consider the specific feature of the urban environment in which we should implement these strategies. So in order to conclude really briefly, the GEVAL tool can be considered in this case a suitable tool to address the provided benefits of network-based solution and calculating their discount monetary value. And can be used as an ex-ante evaluation tool for a preliminary and rough analysis of the project in order to check if we are aligned with our objective. But for the future perspective, we should develop a really in-depth a sensitivity analysis in order to address which is the parameter that affect the net present value mostly, the discount rate, the cost, or the benefit, as well as it should be suggested to propose a tool that is able also to support the cost estimation and integrate in a unique framework the estimation of both benefits and costs in order to develop a more robust cost-benefit analysis to support the implementation of this solution in urban environment. So, thank you for your attention.
Thanks a lot for your really interesting contribution, really. So, if you have some comments and questions that you want to share to us, Julia?
Thank you for your presentation. Just what we saw, it was a urban forestation.
Yes.
So it's an intervention based on the addition of a new park or something like that. It can be widespread to other kind of yes, intervention like remove or I would say changing of on the street, so to the whole panorama of MBS, or is more related to parts?
So this tool is mainly related to municipal scale. It is not engaging the building scale because, as I told you before, it is really difficult to enter in the specific characteristic of urban context within this tool. So it is more appropriate for parks or, for example, street trees and so on. Because for example, the green roof, okay, has also maybe a little extension. So the benefits related to this tool are not considered. Okay, for example, the reduction of the temperature or the indoor benefits of the building. So this is why we understand that it is necessary to overcome this lack and propose a tool that is able to analyze the specific urban environment characteristics. So we are also able to consider green facade, green roof, or other little spot in the urban environment. Thank you.
So this is a question to me. Are you thinking that the cost-benefit analysis could be not the proper methodology for estimating the economic feasibility of each of the solution?
Yes. So it is also my question, but because it is, difficult to arrange everything and put in the cost-benefit analysis. But when you have to talk with the public administration, they would like to see a monetary value. Exactly. Okay, the net present value is positive, okay, because, okay, you can tell them there is a lot of benefit according to social, environmental, ecosystem services, but it is really difficult to interpret this evaluation to decide, okay, we implement this intervention. So this is why at the end we implement the cost-benefit analysis to communicate with the decision makers, both public and private. So I think that we have always to be integrated and aligned with the cost-benefit analysis, only for the communication. Good. We can integrate the cost-benefit with other things. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
It cannot be applied in a building scale, but can it be applied in a larger scale, like regional?
Yes. Yes, regional, yes, because you have to put inside the surface of your intervention and also how many people are interested by this intervention, as well as the number. So, yes, it is mainly adaptable to large scale intervention than the little scale. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much, Hilary.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have completed this session, this workshop. So I thank you for your joining this one, and so I really appreciate all your contribution in terms of understanding the meanings of the transformative change. So the workshop is called Choice, and in this line, this perspective, I think that all of your contribution could give really support and additional meanings in this perspective to understand which is the transformation that these disciplines, the appraisal and so on, could give in this perspective, in this line, so to define which is the new meanings of the transformation towards a new targets, new sustainable targets for the future. So thanks to everyone for sharing, and so have a good journey.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Do you have this link to evaluate the presentations? The last one.
So in the case already from I have the presentation of the certificate evaluated by the session chair. Yeah, sure.
You have the link, or should I open it for you?
So I don't know what do you mean really. So
You, when clicking on this link, you would have to enter your credentials for
Yeah.
the page, and then there comes
an evaluation
thing
for
all the presenters.
I could check.
Yes, we can check.
Again, yeah. Submission and so submission site. Yeah.
Dopo un po' c'è il cram che va abbastanza più e arriva più o meno allo stadio, poco prima dello stadio, qui c'è il capolino del campo. Sì.
Let me enter this link directly.
La fermata di
Yes.
Sì.
I've been sessions okay.
Okay.
Now,
So this is not my session. So
this is your
No.
session.
No.
Paper. But it uses your credentials. Why?
so maybe the session in the afternoon.
Okay, I will look out.
Yeah.
And then, okay, could you enter again? It should show you the session that you chose. Yes. So we see following page, but no, doesn't.
No.
They assigned you a different
7 J. J.
It should be J. Okay,
Yeah.
I will notify them.
Okay.
Thank
good.
you.
You're welcome. Oui. Abbiamo finito. A posto.